Hey everybody, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And it was a beautiful Friday today too. A little bit cooler today compared to what it was, the last 2 days.
A lot cooler.
We had some mid 90s days, and then all of a sudden today was 50. So, you know,
It was like winter.
yeah, I was talking to a business guy I know on the phone today. He's like, "I wish spring would get here," and I'm like, "I just wish it'd be consistent in whatever it is."
Yeah. It
But
tends to get when you have highs and lows like that,
mm,
animals get sick and people get sick and the plants start to bloom and then they get confused and then they
yeah,
die back and
yeah, we have fruit trees with blossoms on them
Mhm.
right now, so I'm really hoping we don't get a freeze because that'll do that in. But hey, by the way, did your Corky have a baby?
no, not yet. But I wrote on my paper any day now. Like I think it's gonna happen today.
Yeah, you know what's funny? B has been telling me that Corky, which is a goat, which we named after my mom, ironically enough, but that she's going to have a baby any day now for like 3 weeks.
I know. I feel so bad locking her up like that, but
I bet she's dying
I
to get
don't
out of the
I
cage.
well, when I go and do chores, I let her out and she runs around and she follows me and she chews on my shoes and headbutts the other goat and then I lock her back up. I
How,
get her back in there with some grain.
how's the new Blackberry baby doing?
He's doing great.
She,
She's doing great.
yeah,
I lost her the other day.
you,
I let I let him out of the I opened the big barn door and they came out the front side and they were running around and I ran to Walmart and came back and I couldn't find the baby. And I looked everywhere. I looked and I looked and I looked and I called for. I walked up to the barn. I walked over to the other paddock and I walked up to the shipping containers and then I walked over to your shop and I was walking around the back of the house and the dogs took off and I was like, "Oh, I think I heard her." And the dogs actually didn't run towards her, but them running around back there made her kind of pop out. She was hiding underneath the back deck.
so your baby goat was laying underneath the back deck.
Yes, like a dog.
Oh my goodness. We get some hellos
And I
in.
found her. I was just very grateful.
Should we get some hellos in?
Yes.
Okay. Danny Green was the first one in. Hello, hello. Followed by Helen from Helen Happy Harvest. My off grid superpower team, the Nidos clan, is in the house tonight, as is Carrie Davis. Good to see you. Jane Marie, hello, hello. Yad, welcome in. Actually, I just spoke to Yad a couple times, well, via text message. Does text messaging count that you spoke to somebody? I think it does. Do
Yeah.
you think it does? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You exchanged.
Yes. Yes, we had some conversations. We're going to be blessed. Yad's going to come up for our spring event.
Oh, good.
And so we were just talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't
Um,
wait to.
It's coming. It's good. It's closing in, and I have a lot more information for you guys tonight too about it, which will be pretty cool. Skeins girl, how are you? Welcome in. It is Friday. I bet you're ecstatic. Long time no see. Let's see here. Kent says, "Evening Tag and B and all the fellow freedom fighters. Welcome to another evening of our regularly scheduled unprogramming information get together." You know what, Kent? I could not have said that
I
better
was gonna
myself.
say you should have him do the intro every time.
Yep, Kent, you're in charge of the intro, so you got to be the first one in the lives now, and the first comment has to be that word for word. I couldn't have said it better
No
myself.
pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. The greatest name on the internet
Half bubble up bump.
is in the house, as is my buddy Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter, what's going on? Yeah, Carrie Davis says it's bipolar weather. It is bipolar weather. Let's see here. Hey, Jonathan Gardner's here. Summer baby's in the making. Well, good to see you, and I agree. The beautiful Paula and her half Kent are in the house tonight. Good to see you guys. The king himself, Jeff Juicy, Hefty, Lefty, Amazon, my doctor, Slick.
Phyllis.
Phyllis is in the house tonight.
Come on, Phyllis.
I had tell you guys a funny story about him. So he was getting his truck worked on this week, and they're just doing a bunch of stuff. But the stuff they were doing, they had to take the whole cab off. This is a nice truck, and go in, and they replaced a bunch of gaskets and things like this, and so anyway, one of the gaskets they were going to change was the oil pan gasket, and so I took a picture, and I didn't even mean to do this, but I took a picture and said they're replacing the oil pan, and sent it to him, and he said it was the worst timing. I had part of a roof blowing, and I had this to fix, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't get an oil pan. I'm gonna have to go to town. I'm gonna have to get an oil pan, and so I messed the whole deal up.
Aw.
It was just a oil pan gasket, and it was my lack of complete communication skills that caused the king himself to have a
Go into
yeah
panic mode.
yeah panic mode. So anyway, it was funny. Permatopia Farm is in the house. Mandy, how are you? Good to see you. My buddy Scott's in the house. Hey Scott, welcome in. No live is complete
Without a pack rat.
That's right. Got to have a pack rat. And Whisper Creek is here. The real trad life wife herself. Let's see here. Jamie's in the house. Hello, ready for energy lockdowns. I'm actually going to talk a lot about energy lockdowns tonight, Jamie. I know you guys know I preach energy all the time because I believe it's the single biggest issue, and there are a lot of things pointing to it and a lot of people talking about it, that's for sure. The beautiful Louise Wesley is in the house. Let's see here. Skeins Girl says, that's what I was telling the dogs as I walled them. Hurry up, do your business. Good news is coming at 7. Yeah. Yep. And there's a bunch of good news tonight. Yeah, Nitos for the win says, we are ready for energy lockdowns. Yes, you are. And you know what? If anybody in this world would appreciate the power of energy independence, it would be you guys.
Yeah.
Because their journey to get to, well, man, it was a
regulations and
well, yeah, I don't want to say what state they live in. I don't know if they want me to share all that, but the place that they live in, it was hectic, man, trying to get all the permits and all the engineering plans and all of this and all of that and all of this. And it's crazy where just the process of getting it installed and the hoops cost more than the whole system itself, which is insane.
Well, they really don't want you to do that. I mean, you're taken from them.
Yeah, it's just anyway.
How dare you remove yourself from them?
Hey, you know what though? They didn't take it. They did it anyway. You know, and it was a fight. But anyway, I know that. Let's see here. ACM Homestead's in the house. Adam and Cindy, how are you? Good to see you.
Hello.
Or I guess Adam / or Cindy, either one, right? And Beth Emily is also here. Welcome in, Beth Emily. All right, cool. I think I'm caught up. I'll keep keeping us up as we go along. Yeah, if you guys are out there listening and you've never said hello, say hello. I'd like to say hello back. Right? Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, be cool. What do you got in your life tonight?
Well, I don't know what all pictures you've gotten that have come through. I know I send you pictures, but there's times where you go, "Oh, I didn't put that in there." So I don't know.
You don't know?
Oh,
well, every
I
picture...
got. Is it this side? I got hit in the face with a shovel.
I had to tell you twice.
I know.
How'd you get hit in the face with a shovel?
It was leaning up against the barn. It was leaning up against the cow pen, and the goat not only ran past it, but when it went to fall, she jumped on it, and it hit me. It took me by surprise.
That's a T-shirt right there. B got beat up by a goat.
It took me by surprise. It shocked me. How much a shovel to the face hurt. It was just the handle of the shovel. It wasn't even the metal part of the shovel.
B got beat up by a goat.
No, she just knocked me in the head with the shovel.
She was trying to, insert who's in charge.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to check that stuff.
I'm in charge. I feed her.
Hey, real quick, let's welcome in Life with Mike and Jen. Jen, how are you? Talked to you a bunch today too, and you guys are just doing such an incredible job. So Mike and Jen, along with Whisper Creek, are kind of manning the spring festival this year. We kind of share the roles because it's a lot to do, all of them. And anyway, they're just doing just a killer job, and I can't wait, to see what comes from all of that. Stan Guthrie, welcome in.
Sounds like
the Terminator herself is in the house tonight. Suzanne Fritz, good to see you as well. Let's see here. Yeah, Whisper Creek says she sucker punched you. Skeins Girl says goat 1 beat 0.
Come on
0.
now.
Yep. Nito says, and what's really ironic was as soon as we jumped through all the hoops and installation started, our electrical bill dropped in half. Yeah, isn't that crazy? They want you back, Nitos. Don't fall for it. Bait.
That's funny.
It's a fishing lure. Don't do it. Let's see here. Carrie Davis says you should file a workman's compensation claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the
how does that work?
Complaint box. Put a note in the complaint box.
How does that work? If you file it with your employer, who's your employer?
You.
So I'm already paying.
You're gonna pay good now. I got a bruise on my
Oh my
cheek.
goodness. Cal was here. Cal is here. Cal is here. And what's going on? Oh, you know. B got in a fight with a goat. Right?
Yeah.
You got your butt kicked.
No, she just.
Skane says, B, this is why I don't want goats. They are so unpredictable.
And they're relentless.
Yeah.
They want what they want when they want it.
Dude, I don't get it. Helen says, Tag, give B a raise. B has all my money. I don't know how to. It's impossible to give her any more of a raise.
And I don't need any more animals.
You sure you don't want 10 more?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want any more animals?
No, we got a goat coming and 2 cows coming.
Mm-hmm. You sure you don't want any more animals?
That's good.
We're gonna put that.
And we have a lot of birds coming.
We're gonna put this theory to the test. Carrie Davis says you can't be liable to yourself. Apparently, I can be. With all of the incredible encouragement you people have for B, she's gonna leave tonight's live saying, "How do I get a raise?"
This place is gonna kill me.
Hey, Instigators in the house says they want what they want when they want.
it.
Yep. Is that why they are called kids?
Kids.
Yeah, it's probably something like that, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, we should do some slides, and then if I don't get everything, we'll get you in there.
Sure.
That sound good? Unless you got something you know that's not in there.
Just
No?
the shovel to the face.
Oh, okay. I wish I'd have been there to film that, because I'd have posted it.
That would not have been cool.
Skane's girl says, I used to have a patient that I had to walk the goatlet to get to the front door. I used to run so I wouldn't get butted. Terminator says, Tag, I was on a Zoom meeting on Monday night with my township. It was a good meeting. They want to rezone our agriculture land so they can separate it. They want to keep our farmland all together. Yeah, I think when they said that you'd own nothing and be happy, they were serious. They meant it. You know, turn the light on. Are we getting a little bit dark? Let me see here. Which one? There we go. That might help a little bit. We're in that weird spot of the sun's going down, you know. Anyway, Thistle Creek says, by the way, welcome in, says, sounds like B's fun meter has peaked. Has your fun meter peaked?
Did the other day.
Is it peaked?
Every day it's a new day. Every day it's a new journey.
So all I had to do to get you to stop buying animals was hit you in the face with a shovel?
It would have probably worked.
Oh my goodness, my beautiful wife. Anyway, so let's see here in Kansas. So you guys, we were talking about the weather a little bit earlier today, and this was yesterday. Was the hottest temperature ever recorded in Topeka during the month of March. Records began in 1888. And this would be the 3rd hottest day ever recorded for the month of April. Think about that. There are only 2 days in April since 1988 that were hotter than the day we had today. Thankfully, a cold front is sweeping through, and it did, right? A gigantic record-breaking heat dome is baking a lot of the U.S., and war is skyrocketing fuel prices and the cost of living. Well, what in the world could go wrong with that? High fuel prices and high temperatures all at the same time?
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Jen says, thankfully, it was a goat and not one of the cows.
No kidding. Ouch.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us what you got going on? Because these are all your pictures.
Okay, so these actually are Jen's pictures because
They're whose?
Jen.
Jen, okay.
So she had asked me, she's like, I need to do something. She's like, I have absolutely nothing to do. This is my side of the story.
Okay. So Jen, you're gonna correct the whole story when we get going here.
She
right?
says,
Okay.
I have absolutely nothing to do. Would you like me to start some seeds for you? And I said, absolutely. And so she says, what would you like me to start? And I said, how about some corn? So she snail rolled. These are the snail rolls. And look how perfect those snail rolls are, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
These are the same thing. This is corn. It's just a couple of days apart. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, those aren't the same. Those are 2 different corns?
No, it's the same corn.
2 days apart. Okay, got it.
Couple days. I don't know how many days apart. She's on here, so she can tell us.
Let's see here.
But this is what it looks like today. So she took this picture today. This is what it looks like.
Let's see here. Terminator says it was -19 with wind chills of -23 last night, and tonight is going to be even colder. Ooh.
Eeh. Happy
Hey.
spring.
Mark Baldwin's in the house. Hey, Mark, what's up, bud? Says time to plant heirloom corn. Heirloom corn with these high temps warming the ground. Yep, we got them in. Yep, and Jen says yes. It's what she said.
So typically they don't like to be corn doesn't like to be transplanted, and we're gonna be very gentle. We're gonna try to. This is the first time I've tried this.
Skins Girl says nice looking snail rolls, Jen.
Look how beautiful
I
those
think
are.
Jen has beautiful snail rolls. I agree.
That girl's snail rolls are mighty fine.
Yep, mighty fine. All right, what else you got?
And would you see how full they were?
Are you growing sticks?
No, this is also Jen's responsible for this.
Okay.
The back three, those are the moringas from last year. I planted them in. She brought them up from Arkansas. I planted them in the garden. First they were in the greenhouse. Then we moved into the garden. Then we dug them up from the garden. We put them in the mud room. They stayed in the mud room through the winter, and then I planted them in the dirt. So they are going to hopefully get a jump start for this year's moringa harvest.
And you gave me a picture to put in here of your hoarder's greenhouse.
No, this is just the greenhouse. You could drop the hoarder part. This is just the greenhouse, silly goose. Yeah, no, but see how many trays. So Girl with Dog was here, and I was in the greenhouse with her. She started all of these pots. So there's like 30 trays full of
Seed started?
fertilized dirt. Seed starts pots. Now, only 2 of them have seeds in them, but
you got all the dirt put in on it.
all the dirt is so you
haven't,
the hard work is done.
So you haven't planted seeds yet.
I have only 2, just because those were the first 2 that I had grabbed out. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what. Hopefully, I will get done this weekend.
Helen says in 1945, a man brought his lucky goat to a baseball game. True story. Well, they're clearly hitters, right?
Yeah.
Your goats hit 100%.
Kid hitters. Hitting kids. Yeah.
Terminator said, B, I've transplanted Danny corn, and they did fine. The stalks were 14 feet high last year.
Wow.
Awesome. Mark says, I've got my 40 Baldwin pear trees arriving soon. I've got the spring fever now. I need to fire up the auger. Doesn't the auger make planting trees so much better? I've got I have lots of different bits, but I have one that's 36 inches around that goes on my skid steer. Man, that's great. Oh my goodness, there he is himself. Squatchy is in the house.
Coming in late.
Coming in late, but you're here. Scott says, I love your greenhouse. You like the hoarder effect? Or which? Which
you
part?
made me jump that all over myself. You caught me off guard. I told you to drop that. Why are you not listening?
I don't listen well. You didn't know that? Yeah. You know what my favorite part of the greenhouse is? Just so I tell you guys, the ceiling or the roof I made out of 3/8 inch glass 4x8 sheets that I found out of a hockey rink I bought for $50 a piece. That was a good deal, huh? Getting them up there wasn't any fun, but super cool.
No, they were not fun because you made me help you.
Yeah, let's see here. Sharpshooter says, I got my pawpaw in.
Oh.
Did you get them in the ground or did you just get them in? Because we've got 25 of them to plant too, right?
Yes.
Did you get any of them planted? What have you been doing?
I put 10 of them in the refrigerator and I put 15 of them in pots with dirt.
Okay. Well, to get them in the refrigerator, that had to have been a lot of work.
I put them in a paper towel and I dampened it.
Helen says the goat was not allowed in, so the Cubs lost the game and kept losing till the goat was allowed in to attend the game. Mark says, I'm doing Baldwin pears and Baldwin apples. The apple trees last centuries rather than decades. Yeah,
Nice.
I'd like to get a couple of them.
Look into it.
Yeah, I will. Scott says, yes, the hoarder greenhouse is cool.
Come on, Scott. Everything in there has a purpose.
Yeah. Whisper Creek says, we planted about 16. Going to put 3 in pots and put 5 at Dad's. Got it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and Helen says that's a true story about the goat. All right. What do you got going on here?
So the first picture is that's me. I'm cleaning the tomato beds so that I can plant the peas. And
Is that what you're planning on this one this year? It's peas?
I planted peas in that for right now. Come tomato time, the peas come out and the tomatoes go in.
Got it.
So depending, I mean, it doesn't matter how big they are. They're going to come out, and the tomatoes are going to go in this bed. The second picture are the potatoes, and they look ashy because they have ash on them. The top one are the white Kennebec, and the red ones are the red northern.
Yeah. Do you have more seed potatoes left over?
I have a little bit. The Kennebecs are going to go to American Roots. They needed those for that specific kind to make the raised beds or towers, potato towers. Okay. And then the red ones, I have not found a home for yet.
You got quite a bit of them? So you started with 50
a little
50
less
pounds.
than half.
Okay, so you got 20
maybe
20 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's 20 pounds of seed potatoes. So Skane's
red
Girl,
ones.
Whisper Creek, Scott, Mark, any of you guys that are around here and interested in that, feel free to
Lou.
Yeah, Lou, right?
Jeff, Gypsy.
Yep, the King. If he's interested, anybody that's interested in them, let us know. We've got some spares, and they're already ready to go. They've already been cut. They've already been rolled in ash.
They've already been ashed.
They're ready to go. So let's see here. Skane's Girl says there's no such thing as hoarding when it comes to plants or chickens tag. Yeah, it's hoarding. And
in order to have those plants, you have to have the pots, and then you have to have the bottom so that the water stays in, and then you need to have the markers so that you can label them, and then you have to have the good pen so that it doesn't leak or get faded. You have to have all the stuff, and then like the crates to carry stuff in, and then the ties, and then the tire, and then the wire, and then the
you clearly need a raise.
A different kind of wire. Different kind of wire for different jobs. This is the potatoes. These are the girls. This is my potato posse.
The potato posse. I like that.
I got MMR and Girl with Dog over to help plant the potatoes. Not to help plant the potatoes. They planted the potatoes. I came in behind them and hayed them, put the hay over them, and then watered them, and then have continued to water them with it 90 whatever degrees. Had to do that. I did it every day.
Yeah. So the first pictures that I should have switched those pictures around because they're out of order. But the first picture is one of the potato sections, because we have two in two different places. This is one of them. What did you plant? Did you plant all of one kind in these and then all of the other kind in the garden?
Yeah. So
these are
the one with the tree with the clouds, that is the red potatoes.
Okay.
Oh, actually, both of these are the same garden. They're the red potatoes over there.
Yeah, and then in the actual garden, this is actually the food forest, but in the garden, the white ones are in the other place.
I got turned around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same picture, same garden. It's just the day later because they planted them. Then I started to hay it, and then I got called away, and then I had to finish haying the next day. So
let's see here. Whisper Creek says, I didn't have room for all the potatoes that sprouted in our kitchen this winter. Want to come help me turn over some new dirt? I'd love to. I've been begging to come help on your guys' homestead forever.
Rip up your yard.
And you always tell me no, and so I feel like I'm not loved. So tell Sharpshooter that. Tell him I said that.
You're not loved until Tag rips up your yard.
Right.
And
builds an addition on your house.
And Matt prunes your tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Your fruit tree.
Mark says if you're having trouble germinating seeds in the greenhouse because of temps or field mice eating them, you can make an affordable germination rack for a few hundred. Can do about 1,500 plants. You should build a design, Mark. Send it to me and I'll put it on the live.
At least a picture.
And we'll share it with all these incredible freedom fighters out there. And maybe you can impact somebody else, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
I do hear a lot of times people are like, I don't have any room to put any seed starts. I don't have any room.
Yep. Let's see here. Terminator says, Tag, you need to cook her a sweet dessert for B. I'm too busy building barns and
I don't
water
want.
systems.
I don't want Tag to cook for me. Lucy, Lucy, shh.
Do you want to talk about why you don't want me to cook for you? No?
Yeah. Well, so one time he tried to make me an omelet, and he is a great omelet flipper. Like he can really just like flip it with one hand, just with the pan. But I asked for spinach, and he thought lettuce was just the same thing. And so he was going to make me a lettuce omelet. And I was like, oh, let's not do that. I'd rather not have one than to have a lettuce omelet.
Oh, this is great. Whisper Creek says, our love story started when you tore down my ceiling. Well, that's true. I did tear down their ceiling. That's a true story. But, it's been a while. So it's like, we fell in love and then we fell out of love,
Lost the love and feeling.
You
maybe.
lost that love and feeling. Okay. Mark Baldwin says, I have it designed and it's only a couple 100 watts. I like that. Low
Oh,
power
it
is
has
good.
lights on it too.
Romans Girl, hello, welcome in. Says, I wish we lived close. We could make y'all feel so loved. We would love that. How far's too far, right? Yep. Let's see here. Helen says, I'm growing 3 orange trees. I wish we could. Lemons, I wish we could. Limes, I wish we could. Blood oranges, I wish we could. All different herbs and tomatoes and peppers. We can do those, but we can't do those first ones.
Those citrus would be
Excellent.
wonderful.
There's always a barrel of honey that used to be the topic. Instigator.
I'd love a barrel of honey.
Nito said, hubby built me a seed starting rack. I love mine. Yeah, we're going to show him some pictures of some seed starting racks today.
Starting racks.
Yep, Grateful Heart Ranch, welcome in. Helen said, Tag made you an omelet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a lot of things I can cook well, but I can make an omelet.
Yeah.
Apparently, you don't put lettuce in it.
No.
Because it just gets gross.
Yeah, it's all like wilted and soggy and not flavorful.
Yeah, Mark says you got a good hubby Nitos, removing your headache. Yep. Tag, put citrus trees in a high tunnel. I'm just so glad you didn't say wallapini.
We can't have a high tunnel out here.
You can't.
The wind would just rip it apart.
Yeah. Want to tell this story?
We really need a... Oh, who got the picture?
I took the picture off the internet because you didn't take a picture when it happened.
No, it was so fast. That was like crazy. Yeah, 2 of these helicopters. What am I talking about?
C-130.
2 of these planes flew past us, and they were so low. The cows took off running through the field. Everybody kind of scattered. It pretty much shocked all of the animals around here. The first picture is our lady cow, our cow lady. She decided to crawl under the fence and boogered up her shins, basically. On her back legs were just, the fur was gone and they were just skinned up and just bloody.
She's getting ready to have a baby here shortly.
May. I found where she was getting out. I do still need to put a T-post in there. I put rocks in front of it, but that's not going to stop her. She's going to stress that fence until... So this is because I put her baby on the other side of the fence in paddock 2 to wean them, because the weaner that I put on the nose did not work. He got that off. Well, he was flipping it up and nursing anyway. And so, but he eventually just worked that off, and both steers did. So I ended up taking all of the boy cows and sticking them over into paddock 2, which they have been mooing at each other back and forth. And she decided that she was just going to go on over there. So she went ahead and she busted out of paddock 1 and was on her way over there. When I saw her, she stopped at the hay bale by the dumpster and thought that she was going to get a quick snack, which is where I found her. I got some grain. She's such a good cow. I got some grain and just showed it to her, and she walked right behind me like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, we were lucky in this event. I wasn't here, but MMR was in the house, and they were gardening together, and she is spent her career in the Air Force. I'm sorry, the Navy.
Nate.
Navy. Yeah, sorry. And anyway, she goes, "Oh yeah, they were C-130s." So I just put a picture of a C-130 up there.
Oh, she knew what it was.
Yeah, she knew it.
Yeah,
was.
we were all just like,
Yeah, because apparently it was low, and
yeah, girl with dog goes, you can see their face.
Yeah, who in the hell would you complain to? Right?
I don't know why they would be so close.
I don't either. Helen says, I love this comment. Says, build a high tunnel strong. You can do it, tag, all as possible. Well, Helen, the unfortunate thing is I'll be busy making desserts. I won't have time. Right? At your request.
No.
Yep. Hey, citizen broadcasters in the house. There's another Freedom Warrior. Welcome in. Helen says we should try growing an olive tree. I don't think I can grow them here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can grow them in a greenhouse, but then you can bring them in and out. But I'm really, and you can ask me, I'm pretty opposed to stuff like that. I don't want plants I have to take in and out. I want to build permanent stuff, that just as her and I get older, so there's less and less stuff to do all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was great. Yeah, so I walked in, which you guys see the hoarding area behind B? This is B's shop.
Those are all empty boxes, and I was going to get rid of them. And you said, your words were, you should probably keep a couple of those boxes.
A couple. You want to do some counting? Let's see who can count. It's counting night.
I see like 5. Come on. And then the trash can is full, but
Empty
like, needs to. I'm busy trying to fix the chainsaw.
So anyway, that's the B-Mobile.
Gee, you're making me all hot.
I have that effect.
Good grief. Me all worked up.
I walk in the shop and B is working on her chainsaw.
Without a hammer, by the way.
Yeah, no
I
hammer.
didn't even use a hammer this time.
Nope.
I was using an appropriate tool.
Yep. Yep. So she was putting a new chainsaw blade.
Oh, the blade just came off.
Yeah,
Gosh.
on her Milwaukee battery-powered chainsaw, and so she got that all done, which was really, really good. But there's few things I'm going to tell you in this world, ladies, that men appreciate, and it's all of those little things that we don't have to do. It's the little stuff like that. Hey, lazy loper, welcome in. Let's see here. Nito says, since we live near a naval air station where training is done, we have planes overhead a lot. We have a few. We have quite a few that fly over, but apparently, again, I wasn't there.
It was low.
Yeah, it was low. Yep. Let's see here. Whisper Creek says 1 is none and 2 is 1, or something like that, right, Tag? Well, B's saying is actually 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is a spare. But you guys can tell by the background of her greenhouse and in her shop that she lives by that message, don't you?
I don't want to throw it away and then have to need it.
That's how hoarding starts. You didn't know that?
No, it is not. It's not organized yet. I'm not there yet. Get off my back.
Oh, B, you're so funny.
I don't go take pictures of your shop.
You should.
You heard it here, folks. I got permission.
Let's see here.
Although he does the live, and then he just will be like, "Oh, I didn't put that picture in."
Well, you can do the live.
I'm
You
not
have total
doing that
control.
either.
Okay.
No, I got stuff to do, plants to grow.
Helen thinks we should start a lumber business. Well, B, with her new, her chainsaw skills.
I need a bigger chainsaw.
She could do some of that. Squatchy says my loper has 27 wieners. This clears up everything.
Do they work? I can't. My wieners don't work.
Why don't they work?
They get them off.
Got it. Yeah, Packrat says 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3's for me, 4 is more. Yep. Look how happy she is with the electric chainsaw rather than the noisemaker. Yeah, all of mine are big gas-powered steel saws, but B's got 2 of these. Is that right?
It's just because I can't start the other one. This one I can just pull the trigger, and my old arthritis.
And she just uses it for trimming up branches in the gardens and, where she goes and in the paddocks and that. She's not using it for cutting firewood.
Yeah, I'm not felling trees.
Gaines Girl says, I can still see the wall. It's all good, B.
Yeah, thanks.
Tag, my husband taught me to work on my own chainsaw and even sharpen the chain. Yeah, but you are one of a kind, Terminator.
That's true. I don't sharpen it. That's
yeah. Helen says make dessert 2 times a year. Yeah. Yeah. Romans Girl says, no, Pack Rat. Four's a horde. So I'm going to read this again, but I'm now going to put Romans Girl message in there, which is one is none, two is one, three for me, and four is horde. I agree. I'm on Team Romans Girl, just so you guys know.
Okay, so we're
Yep.
allowed to have 3 of everything.
Yeah, I got to set the rules, right?
That's what I heard.
Pack Rat says, and 5 will keep you alive, and 6 will keep you fixed. Yeah. Helen says, I love woodworking. I actually do too. I don't get to do it as much as I like to, but Helen says, do you and B have any black walnut trees? Well, Helen, I actually have a whole shop full of milled black walnut, already milled in stacks. I have all kinds of sizes and shapes. I actually went and built big racks. When we built our big pond, there was a lot of walnut in there, along with a lot of other things, like oak and hedge and cherry and just all kinds of stuff. And so I milled it all up, and it's all in my shop for future use. Pack Rat says 7 is heaven and 8 is great. Team B.
Go, Pack Rat!
All right. Okay, so earlier in the live, you were talking about you don't need any more animals. Then you send me this picture. I thought you said you didn't need any more animals. What's going on, B?
It's because these ones are freebies.
Okay, so you guys
I
have
actually
all
have-
heard now that the whole no more animals is complete bullshit.
What I meant was any more kinds of animals.
Oh,
No,
that-
I don't need any more. I don't need any sheep. I don't need any, any monkeys.
Yeah, is that what you could come up with? Is that the best defense you have in this whole thing right here? Oh my goodness.
I don't need a farm monkey. Oh shoot! I did happen to find more turkey eggs, so I did go ahead and fill this.
I love you,
They're not all gonna incubate, or they're not all gonna hatch, and then they're not all gonna be girls, yeah, and then they're not all gonna be the color that I want, and then so I'll be lucky to get 5 out of these 20.
Is that another part of the sales pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going on. All right.
And there's 25 there.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Terminator says, not me, B. When it comes to my garden tools, you can never have enough. I actually agree with that. Mario's in the house, says happy Friday to all my groovy homestead brothers and sisters. Helen says, excellent wood. Yeah, I've got a bunch of it. I'd love to again slow down and be able to play with it more, but black walnuts are all over here if they haven't been chopped down by the barrows. Yeah, I've got a bunch on my property. Like I said, I got a bunch already milled. Romans Girl says, watch out, Pack Rat. 7 might get you sent to heaven. What's funny is that I really align with Romans Girl, and you apparently align with Pack Rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whisper Creek says, I'm with B. I'm saving clothes for kids I swear I'm not going to have. Well,
I've got some kids' clothes for the kids you're not going to have also.
Yeah, we're saving clothes for you too, just so you know. That's funny. Pack Rat says, Romans Girl, I love you, honey. And Romans Girl says, I love you too, obviously. Sigh. That's great. So you're going to hatch some turkeys. Do you have any chickens in the incubators yet?
No.
Just turkeys. All you got?
turkeys.
Because you could put a whole nother rack up there, right?
Yeah, and if I find a whole nother rack of turkey eggs, I'll put those in there.
Yeah, you're not going to hatch chicken eggs? Because you really need chickens more than you need turkeys.
Well, so what I was thinking was getting the other incubator out for chicken eggs.
Now, you guys heard it earlier. She said, no more animals. Do I need to take the live back and quote you?
I said no pet squirrel.
No. You didn't say like
no
anything. You said no more animals. That's
right.
what you said. Period.
I'm getting used to the cows. I'm getting used to the goats. I'm getting used to the chickens, the turkeys, the geese, the dogs, the guineas, I think that's it. That's it.
You guys all heard her. She said no more animals. That's what she said, right? Helen even quotes it. No more animals.
Did say that.
You did say that. Helen says they say one black walnut tree would be $10,000 to $30,000. Yeah, I just mill them and put them in my shop. Someday I'll build a bunch.
Wow.
Yeah, Dana Green says I like birds. Yeah, B does too. I actually think she needs to be. Oh, Carrie Davis said flying monkeys from the north. Yep.
Well, you,
And Backrat says no more animals except.
I mean, this is future food though, so I can't like
I'm not.
stop the process.
I'm
'Cause
not
if I
arguing
stop
that.
the process.
What I'm
Then,
saying
like,
is, you said no more
production stops. Halt production.
Oh my goodness.
You know, we got to keep.
Terminator thinks she needs rabbits.
See, I can't do any more animals.
You got 25 new animals right here.
I mean, rabbits and monkeys and squirrels and giraffes, those things.
Do any of you men out there have the same issue when they say no more animals, but what they really mean is lots more animals?
No, I didn't mean that.
Except you just put 25 eggs in the incubator. How did you not mean that?
This is next year's food. This is it's not a rabbit. It's not
It's not an animal?
It's not another cage. It's not another watering system. It's not another electrical system. It's not another
Okay, so what you're saying is you don't want any more
energy system.
You don't want any more infrastructure.
I don't I've already got this in my works.
So you don't need any more infrastructure.
Turkeys are in the works. No, I mean I might need a cock run later, but I think that right now I don't want any more animals. That's what I said.
Yeah, Instigator for the Win says no more animals is the same as no more taxes, deny and deflect. Ding 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 ding. Deny and deflect.
It wasn't denying. I don't want any more other kinds of animals.
Mario says they speak code. Yes, I have the same issue. Louise says, I mean that more cows. You got
the cow. See, like they're already on the way.
Yes,
they're already growing.
So
does that
mean
I know that they're coming. I know that that's.
Oh, so you've already counted for that.
Yes, and
so you're not.
I have the pens for them. I have the.
So you're not breeding the cows anymore.
No, I will, because that's future food, right? That's something that I already know. I'm already into. I've already got the infrastructure. I've already got the knowledge. I'm not trying to Google in the middle of the night why is my goat 3 weeks late in giving birth? Like, because I don't know why.
Helen says that we should start a gravel business.
Gravel?
Mm-hmm. Community can start different business ideas. Yeah, we've had some talks about that.
Probably.
And
should.
Instigator says, and poultry math don't count. Terminator says rabbit is good for pure manure and good for meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Manure.
Backrat says no more infrastructure except, right? Squatchy says a roo run. And Helen agrees, no more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
Yeah.
Goodness. I'm continuing to work on my pickup. Many of you guys know I'm building a 1973 Chevy 1-ton crew cab. Figured I'd keep
It's so weird that you're building a 73.
Oh, but it's going to be so super modern. So I've been working on trying to mock up a console for the center of it, and so I put an old seat back in it so that I can make sure it slid forward and back. And actually, I did it for you. You see that black line right there? Forward seat position. So that if you're driving it, not that you ever will because it's a stick, but if you do, if you move the seat all the way forward, it touches perfectly right there.
Okay.
So I'm working on that. And this is what I mean by it's all modern. So it's all fuel injected. It's, it's going to have heated seats, power, everything. It's going to be, advanced just in a 73.
It's just going to look old.
It's just going to look old. Yeah. And so have been spending a lot of time working on this, but I'm closing in. The engine's almost totally installed. Look at all those wires and cables. And just a lot.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
You've done a good job.
Yeah, but it's super cool. I'm looking forward to it. Reminders, I do every single live that we post the dates for the festivals and stuff like that at the Great Plains Homestead happenings on Facebook. I need to change this picture because we got a lot more members than 98. I never even noticed that before. I don't know how many are in there now, but anyway, and then obviously don't, let me see here, hold on.
That's on Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, on Facebook. To be truly modern, you would not be allowed to repair it. Well, that's true. What I mean modern is more, it'll have air conditioning, those kinds of things. And don't forget, on April the 11th, we are having our spring festival, and there'll be a lot of stuff going on. I'm hoping as many of you guys can make it as possible. Everybody's welcome. If you need, some arrangements made or something like that, just get a hold of me. I'm very easy to get a hold of. My email address is on my YouTube channel. So if you go on there, you can find directly how to get a hold of me. And you know what I'll do here real quick? Here, I'm just going to put it in here.
Type it in here.
I'm going to type my email address in here in case anybody wants it.
Festival is from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
There you go. Good
Food
job, girl.
is served at 4 p.m. There will be tons of bubble fun and
There you go.
seed starting, relay race, scavenger hunt, karaoke. There will be a free table, so bring what you don't need and take what you do.
I love that idea. So there'll be a table set up, and I'm going to bring extra building supplies and things that I have left over. Somebody will take them and go benefit their homestead somewhere.
Somebody's brought boots before.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's one time somebody's mom passed away, and she brought the daughter brought clothes and just laid them out for people to take what they wanted.
Yep.
There were eggs. There was a gingerbread house. There was
Yep. I love that. What a cool thing that
coat.
is.
Lots of coats.
Helen
actually.
says rebuilding old model cars is a fantastic business. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it for business. It's too much work. Yad says, do you think the new truck would withstand an EMP? I'm going to tell you that this truck is as hardened as any car is out there. And I went to a lot of great lengths. As you guys, I'm assuming you know this about me, Yad, but I have big connections to the electromagnetic pulse world. And so we put lots of stuff in the truck to do our best to harden it from not just EMP, because actually there's other threats from a, electronic warfare perspective. But I did my best to harden them. David says turbo, no turbo. I may put a supercharger on it someday, but it was not today. But welcome in, David, by the way. Couple little updates from the spring festival. As you guys can see, some of the pictures of some of the things that have been donated. We have, in addition to things I don't have donated, we have stuff coming from Flint Hills Custom Meats, Perry Milling, Bomb Guards, Abundant Provisions, Patio Shoppers, BP, Naughty Pain, Propane and Oil, and Clamps Garage have all agreed to donate things. Some of them will do in a silent auction. The funds that are raised through the silent auction will go to fund the fireworks show for the next festival.
Yep, for the Freedom Festival.
July the 11th, which July the 11th is, last year we had a fireworks show that rivaled the towns. And but we got to fund it every year, and so we were going to work hard on trying to get some of that done. So anyway, that's what that'll go to. Some other things will be just given away. They'll gift baskets and those kind of things that will go out. Anyway, I'd love to see you guys come. And we were talking about seed starting earlier.
Yes, right.
Right. And so those things came up, and I'll keep posting as we continue getting closer to the event. So you guys can see kind of what's going on. So it's funny. There's me and B don't really have anything to do with it. All the credit in the world belongs, to Life with Mike and Jen and to, Whisper Creek Homestead, as they have managed their way through this. But we get boxes showing up all the time.
Yes.
And B just stacks them in a big pile. I'm like, what's in that box? She's like, I don't know.
Doesn't have our name on it.
Don't have our name on it. You ain't opening it. So we just stack it in the Jen room. In my house, we actually have a Life with Mike and Jen room, and it's assigned to them, and all of their belongings are being stacked to the ceiling. It's very nice. Helen says, great job, Tag. Harden the car. Yeah. And see, I would be really interested in learning how you harden the truck. Yeah, so it's really not that complicated. It's just understanding how electricity flows, right? And then understanding the threat and how much of it you have to deal with, trying to cover all of the points. And here's the thing, guys, that you've got to understand about EMP is that all of the military testing, there's been a ton of it that's been done. A ton that's been done. In my opinion, a lot of those tests were a little bit flawed, but they still offered some pretty good information in them. And so those they did some modern cars. I think this was back in like 2000. I want to say 14 or 15. They took a bunch of newer cars back then and put them in a what's called a radiated chamber, and they radiated a EMP upon them, and half of them survived because of just how they were correct. The other half did not. And so a lot of modern cars, because their computers are in a metal box, which is basically a Faraday cage, that protects them a lot all by themselves. And there's some estimates out there that half of the cars would just start. And so I think we still need to protect from it, but I really think there's other issues there too. There's a lot of handheld EMP devices now. I mean, there was stories today of Ukraine deploying EMP field mines that blow up and put a small EMP blast out, just around a building or, something like that. But electronic warfare is the future.
Yeah.
And so if what you can do is if you can identify the antenna, so the antenna in a car is all the wiring. If you can identify the entrance points and put surge devices, basically, for lack of a better word, in several different locations, you can really harden it well. I mean, even just putting one on will do some, but I think the more you can do that. So maybe someday I'll do a whole show on that and we can get into details, but it's really not super hard or complicated. Jen says, oh boy. Yeah.
She's
Okay.
excited too.
Yeah, she's excited too. All right. Well, the good news is we've got through pretty much the homestead stuff. So what did I not get that was on your list?
I get to see my niece this weekend.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
When is she coming down?
Maybe tomorrow.
So maybe you're going to see her.
No, I think Saturday or Sunday.
You will see her. You just don't know what day.
Yes. And then I have that the goat's gonna have her kid any day now.
Any day now, everybody. Any day.
Yeah.
Roman's girl says, I had no idea that any cars would survive an EMP. Do you know if there's a list anywhere of which cars are likely to survive? It's not that simple. Because, let me try to explain this. So it has more to do with the angle of the EMP, the surface you're driving on, even the speed you're driving on. How close are you to the actual detonation, right? Is the detonation, 300 miles? I'll give you an example. So like an EMP detonated 300 miles in the atmosphere above Nebraska would be more dangerous to where I live than an EMP detonated 300 miles above Kansas. And it might sound weird, but just the way that it works. So it's just not that simple. I mean, I think so. Again, most modern cars have a hardened computer. There's little things you can do, like I said, I use the EMP shield devices and I just put them, where I put them to help do that. But there's a lot of cars out there that will do okay. It wasn't as simple as some brands did better than others,
Because you guys tested multiple kinds. You guys tested multiple.
Oh, we've tested all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we're if you guys remember the slide from before, it had Clamps Garage on there. Clamps Garage is somebody we all do a lot of work with. But I'm always picking up old car computers from him so that I can take them to the factory and zap them, And so, because they're super valuable, you can take and there's a lot of different things you can use, things like Marx generators and things like that. But anyway, you can send an injected pulse down a line, run it through a computer and then test the outcome coming out on the backside, right? Makes no sense to you, does it? I'm Charlie Brown.
Testing it coming out the backside.
Yeah. Anyway, my advice is here's the back up. Here's another thing, Helen, is that, or Roman's girl, sorry, that is interesting is that where's the car when it happens? Because I'm going to give you an example. If it's in a garage has a certain level of attenuation, right? And so that offers another level of protection. What's the garage made of? What's the roof made of? If the roof is made of metal, that offers another layer of protection versus an asphalt shingle. So there's just so many variables to it. Let's see here. Helen says, B, what's your favorite hobby that you enjoy?
Gardening?
Animal procurement.
Yeah. I don't know if I have hobbies. Do you have hobbies?
Oh my God.
I have a hobby farm. Every day.
You have 2 huge gardens. You have a food forest.
Those are hobbies.
Hundreds of animals out there.
I do.
B does not knit and sew and paint or any of that stuff.
Or scrapbook.
No, she don't do any of that stuff. She deals with her animals. She deals with her garden. She deals with her family, right?
Yep.
And then
we got to spend time with our grandbaby.
she falls asleep.
Yeah.
And starts the next day, right?
When it's still dark.
Hey, Kip, welcome in. Right on time. Helen says, I have a Volkswagen Passat 2017. Yeah, it's just not that simple. There's way too many variables in all of it. But anyway, maybe one of these days I'll bring in a EMP expert. We can have some conversations because there's a lot of misconceptions out there about how they actually work, what the threat actually is. But I'll tell you this: the threat's growing every day.
Yeah.
And I'll give you guys an example. So when years ago, like let's say 3 years ago, the military standard, and you guys can look this up. Look up military standard 188.125.1 and military standard 188.125.2. Okay, those are the military standards. There's some other standards around them, but those are the two basic standards when it comes to hardening from an electromagnetic pulse. So basically in those standards, what it talks about is that it has to be able to withstand 50,000 volts per square meter. And so that's the threat level that it's asking for. Well, in October of last year, not of 24, China tested an 86,000 volt per square meter device. And the experts believe they could have tested up to 200,000 volts. So what was the military standard just 4 or 5 years ago of 50,000 volts is now being moved to a 200,000 volt metrics. Why does this matter? Well, because the car test, like I gave you the example of, was tested to a 50,000 volt standard because that's what the standard was back then. And so how would those cars have fared at a 200,000 volt? I don't know, right? I mean, I don't know. Let's see here. David says, I suspect a big part of the EMP thing is to keep us scared. Yeah, I would say that a lot of what they do is to keep us scared. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, and again, because of my background, I can tell you the threat is very, very real, but the idea of a big nuclear bomb being detonated in the atmosphere, I think the likelihood of that is decreasing because of cyber attacks, because of localized events, because of handheld devices. They're much easier to smuggle in. You can isolate what you want to take down. Like, for example, a nuclear bomb is going to take all the infrastructure out, right? And it doesn't hit the ground, right? They detonate it in the atmosphere. You don't even see it. You won't feel it. You won't anything. But it's going to work. No, it's just going to take out so much infrastructure that trying to rebuild that infrastructure after
it won't
it's
catch
all
on
over.
fire either, right? Well, stuff will just won't work.
No,
so some stuff might catch on fire.
No, it probably will. There'll be many houses.
So people will know because stuff will be catching on fire.
Well, but it won't catch on fire. You won't see the explosion in the air, is what I'm saying. You won't see it happen above you. These waves of energy will come down and will catch many things on fire. If you remember back at 1859, there was the Carrington event, right? And that was a solar flare. And right. And so that's similar to one of the 3 phases of an EMP. And so back then the telegraph lines caught on fire. Many buildings burned down, back then. And so then you're talking about something a whole lot more powerful than that. So I would
and more technologically advanced.
This discussion makes far more sense than the total devastation to all electronics. I was told that individual semiconductors in anti-static packages would be categorically snuffed. Maybe. Again, it's not that simple because how far are you from it? I mean, I'm going to tell you something. So let's give you an example. So an individual semiconductor you're talking about, if it's at ground zero and a 200,000 volt per square meter device, it's done, right? It's just too much. But the truth is, a cell phone, we talk about our cell phones, they're so small. If it's not plugged into the wall, the chances are it's going to be fine. A laptop.
If it's not plugged in?
If it's not plugged in. If it's plugged in, it's done. Because
I thought before if it was plugged in, it would be protected.
No, if it's plugged in, you have to understand you just connected it to a big antenna. You connected it to a grid. And so those electrons are going to couple onto those lines, and it's going to race into your house down your...
So then everything that's plugged in will get raced.
That's right. This is why we put
the protectors,
the correct level of surge suppression at the entry point of a building. Because most of the damage will be done by that electricity coming down that line.
So if it has 3 waves, will the EMP shield hit all 3 waves? Or will it sacrifice itself on the first one and
No,
then you're screwed for the second
no.
and third
So
one?
it won't sacrifice itself. So that the reason that is because we talked about like 50,000 volts. I mean, I did not mean to get off on this, but we talked about 50,000 volts versus 200,000 volts. But did you guys know a lightning bolt can be up to 1 billion volts of electricity? So we have walls and walls and walls of EMP shields that have been hit by lightning, and they typically sacrifice themselves because it's so much power. That's not what an EMP is. And so it will absolutely take it for a while. But the thing you have to understand is there's so much. I mean, it's just like Guardian. The Instigator says this all the time. The answer is it depends.
It depends.
There's just too much to that. But you put 200,000 volts, let's say, in the last form of the EMP, the E3, waving through a house, it's going to cause all kinds of chaos.
Yeah.
But the devices like a laptop or a cell phone, those little things like that, even small generators, they just can't couple enough energy to cause.
Couple?
Yeah, not enough energy is going to get in there. They're just too small. Versus like a big solar system. What makes solar systems so dangerous is the solar panels, because inside of a solar panel are miles of copper line, right? And so it acts as just a big gigantic antenna.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're trying to stop the effects coming down the line, because that's really where the majority of it's going to be. So EMP is, when we were talking about that pack rat to your comment, EMP is devastating because not of the effects of the EMP itself, but the after effects, right? Because if all of a sudden the grid isn't working, which is a huge antenna, right? If all of a sudden you can't get, the manufacturing isn't going, all the big stuff, pretty soon what happens is life just, kind of stumbles to a halt.
And you're talking about after everything's burnt.
Yeah, I'm talking about after all. That's where the real problem comes.
Once the fire, I mean, if that happens and you have fires, there's only, so many fire trucks. So if
and they
fires all over,
they may not be coming anyway.
Yeah. Oh, right. They can't even.
They might not be coming anyway. Well,
get a hold of them.
Again, it depends, right? If those fire trucks were stored in a metal building with a metal garage door, they might have withstood some of that.
Yeah, but to get water out, you need a pump.
Right.
To get,
right.
I mean, all of the things
Yep.
you need.
Yep. All right. Let's see, where am I even at? Okay, we'll just go right there. Whisper Creek says it's a lifestyle, not a hobby. Yep.
Right.
So better mousetrap, better mouse. Yep, kind of. Yep. Homes with smart meters will catch fire easy. Yes. And again, those smart meters, the thing you have to understand about them is they have microchips in them. Those are the things that are the most susceptible to EMP. Helen says, I enjoy listening to the technical lessons. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been involved in the electromagnetic pulse business world for a long, long time. I've been to the Pentagon. I've been all over. I've been in lots of briefings, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning how it does. Hey, Tambra says, so if things are plugged in and you have an EMP shield on your house and they pop an EMP bomb, everything plugged in is okay? Depends. So again, right? I mean, Tambra, here's the thing. So the EMP shields were tested to the military standard. Okay, which is 50,000 volts per square meter. Now they're changing the standard, which is why I've been kind of talking to you guys about, maybe, and we'll see, right? We're going through, you guys know who Dr. Bill Radowski is, who is sat on the EMP commission. So we're going through a bunch of testing, trying to figure out if it's enough. And we're kind of going through that now, and I'll keep you guys up to speed. But I will tell you this, you are far better off with that EMP shield sitting there than having nothing sitting there, because it's going to take a bunch. And again, the only way you're getting the full load is you're going to have to be ground zero. How much of the country will be ground zero, right?
Right.
I mean, because the truth is, if you really wanted to hurt America, you'd probably light it off above Louisiana and Texas. Because what that would do is that shut the oil supply down. That would shut the gasoline supply down, right?
Don't give them any ideas.
They're so much smarter than I am. I promise you, they know all of this stuff. Right? I mean, so where are you in relation to it? There's just so many factors. So I think you now understand the level of our confusion on the topic tag. Might be worth a layman's seminar on the subject sometime. That's what I'm saying. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get like Dr. Bill Radowski from the EMP Commission or somebody to just come talk about it. And he's actually very level-headed, and he thinks that it's hyped more than it probably should be. It's dangerous, and he'll tell you that. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. What if my solar generator is plugged into my house? Then is your solar generator, again, I hate to say this, Tamara, it depends. So let's say your solar generator is plugged into your outlet and a whole bunch of energy gets on your electrical line that you're connected to the grid and it runs down into your house and hits that generator. It's probably dead. It's probably not coming back from it. Now, let's say your solar generator has got a couple solar panels on it sitting outside. A couple solar panels are pretty small, but they're still, if you ever broke a solar panel apart, there's many a miles of copper line in there, and that will all, induce energy. So it depends. I hate that answer, but it does. I started this live with one working brain cell, and now, oh, my Lanta. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Instigator, you have always, I have always believed you'd be somebody that know a fair amount about this topic. Anyway, we're an hour and 5 minutes in, and well, all we've managed to talk about is you're collecting animals.
I'm not collecting any more animals.
No more animals for you.
Not any more of any other kinds.
So no. So you're collecting animals. You're not collecting species.
You word whatever. Make your words whatever
Word
you want it
whatever.
to be.
Let's see. Tamara says, so if it's just sitting in my garage and not hooked up, that'd be better. A lot better. Yep, a lot better. Yep, because again, it's a fairly small target, and again, it depends on your garage. What's the garage made of? There's been a theory, and I don't know if it's true or not, but they got rid of lead-based paint because lead-based paint was dangerous to our health, and so we went through this whole thing of cleaning it all up and all of that. But one good thing lead-based paint did is it had been very reflective to the effects of electromagnetic pulse. And there's actually coatings out there. There's companies out there that make paint and makes those kinds of things to protect against electronic threats. So not just EMP. Okay, you feed some good news.
Yes.
So
Please.
yeah, I often joke you guys about good news. The first story I want to share with you guys is not good news, and like I said, we kind of joke about it, but to me, it's an actual sad news, and I'm sure many of you have heard about it. But the tragedy of Nolia's story can't be overstated. This young lady was taken from her family at age 13, and she was put into a group home in Spain. And while she was in that group home, she was raped by 3 immigrants. She was then encouraged by the government. She suffered from depression, OCD, these other things. She had been being encouraged by the Spanish government to commit suicide by their lethal way of doing it, right? Because they do that legally over there. They kill you if you're not happy. And so she was depressed.
Like euthanasia?
Euthanasia, yeah. I couldn't come up with the name. I couldn't come up with the word.
Euthanizing?
Yeah. And but instead she decided to jump out of a window. And she jumped out of a window and became paralyzed from the waist down. And she lived through that. And then she began to, with the help of the Spain government, began to ask them to take her life. Her parents put up a big fight. Because she was an adult, Spain would not listen to any of the parents. And so she went through all of this stuff. And there's reports coming out now that she, on her last day, which by the way was yesterday, they euthanized her yesterday. But in her last couple days, she was showing some, making some statements about maybe this isn't the right idea, that kind of thing. But the Spain government had said that, sorry, it's, you kind of can't back out of this. And they're speculating that the reason that Spain says this is because her organs had already been sold off, to them. And so because of organ harvesting, that they wanted to make sure they go through it. So anyway, they did kill her yesterday. And it's so crazy to me how this whole thing's work. Because if you think about it, the state took her from her family. The state failed to protect her. She was raped by the immigrants there. And then the state killed her. The people who did this to her, the immigrants that did this to her, they didn't kill them. In fact, they're walking free. Instead, what the state decided to do is to kill the victim. Tell me how that makes absolutely any. This is completely sad. What does a 25-year-old girl, think about what happened to her over the course of those years. So she was removed from her family at 13. and then so 12 years. In the course of 12 years, she was removed from her family, put into a group home, raped, attempted suicide, and then legally helped through the Spanish government. They euthanized her, and it was very sad for me when I was reading about it. She asked at the end to be alone and didn't want her family or anybody there, and accepted her fate, and that's the end of that. And so I'm 100% sure we have not heard the end of this story, because her mom and her dad were, very, very, very upset, and her family was very, very, very upset. And you got to remember, this is a girl who, since the age of 13, was indoctrinated, right, in a lot of ways, in a system like this. And then obviously, heavily medicated, right? And so I think the Spanish government should hold a lot of liability to this. And I would love to see this, go further down the road. Because to me, this is just absolutely
Did it say
tragic.
why she was removed in the first place?
Yeah. So the only thing that I could find, I actually looked up that question, and they said that her parents had separated, and that she was hard to control because she had OCD, and so this country, I keep wanting to say the state, but it's not really a state, it's a country, Spain, removed her from the home so that she could get better care for her OCD. I couldn't find anything that really went. I would think there would be more to the story than that,
Right.
but I really couldn't find anything more on it. But what an absolute sad and tragic story, just, yeah, I just can't even tell you. This is why I put it first, because it's just, to me, it's just tragic. Democrat Muslim Virginia senator introduces bill to make Islamophobia a hate crime and to track Americans in a hate crime database who disrespect Islam. The bill directs the Virginia State Police Attorney General and the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion to track and catalog these cases as hate crime in a hate crime reporting system. Virginia is becoming Islamified right before our eyes. This is Virginia's Senate Bill 624, introduced by State Senator Saddam Aslan Salim, a Democrat representing the 37th District. The bill formally inserts the definition of Islamophobia into the Virginia assault and battery laws. It defines Islamophobia as a malicious prejudice or hatred towards Islam or Muslim, but it applies even if the alleged victim isn't Muslim, as long as someone claims you targeted them based on the perceived connection to Islam. Yeah, read that again. They use the word perceived, right?
Yeah.
Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal is asking for taxpayers to start funding reparations for illegal immigrants. She goes on to talk about how the illegal immigrants that were here, that it's not their fault, and that we have caused them great harm, and so taxpayers should be funding some type of reparation for all the illegal immigrants that are here. So what she's asking for,
The JPEG, that's jail. That's PayPal for jail.
no, it's her last name,
Is it?
Jayapal. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is the PayPal.
Oh my gosh, B, you need more animals.
I do. Just turkeys.
Yeah, because you guys imagine paying a bunch of illegal immigrants reparations? Insane, right? Young girls in a Philadelphia school were on camera saying that we will chop off their heads, we will lead the army of Allah, we will subject them to eternal torture. These are Muslim children in an American school in Philadelphia. And guys, it isn't just Virginia and Pennsylvania, right? It's everywhere. Let's see here. Where am I at? Yeah, Skanes Girl says, what? We forced illegal immigrants to enter our country? Yeah. Can I pay in the pork links? Yeah. I think vehicles that are old enough to have points and plugs, no computer stuff will still run if there's an EMP. That's 90% true, Tambra. Again, it depends on how much voltage, because you got to understand something. You put 200,000 volts, let's say, down a electrical line designed for 12 volts. What's the outcome of that? Right, it very easily could burn up the line. But I would say 90% your statement's correct. Yeah. Gypsy says reparations, they call it taxes. Yep, exactly. Yeah, Jamie, hello, says exactly why you never give up freedom, your freedom seed dispensers. Amen to that. Americans are getting incredibly frustrated, and I'm seeing it everywhere. Here in my local county, more and more people are standing up. More and more people are, publishing and getting loud. The county north of me now has a big movement. The county north of that has a big movement. County south of us had a big movement. But this is going on literally everywhere in our country. Eric Daugherty was interviewing an American traveler in Houston in an airport, and he said, "I respectfully," and he was talking about Congress because they just left for their paid vacation. Said, "I respectfully request to these people who run our government, don't take their Easter break, and the rest of these people suffer through this. They should stay in Washington and do your job." What he was referring to is the SAVE Act, which would require identification to vote. And I don't understand how this topic is controversial in any way. I get all kinds of people on my Facebook page who argue about this and think I'm mean because I say this, but I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm just dense. Recent reports coming out from the federal government says they have credible evidence to suggest that there may be extreme groups in our country looking to target churches. And so they sent out a big, basically bulletin that said that churches are soft targets and that they should have meetings amongst their congregation to discuss how they would deal with such threat. This is absolutely terrifying. A newly released CIA document reveals that the Biden administration identified motherhood and homemaking as a clear indicator of white, radically, and ethnically motivated violent extremism. So, according to this CIA document, if you like motherhood and if you're into homemaking, that it is a clear indicator that you're a threat. You're probably white. You're radically and ethnically motivated for violent extremism. Jewish economist Paul Krugman says the real craziness comes from rural white America that feels that they're losing their country. This is the big fight, right? They're right. In the end, they are not the future. The power they have will go away. It's a difficult time until then. How many videos do white people need to see of Jews openly, happily discussing the plan for our genocide? The ignorance is outstanding. Wake up. Respectfully, and these are other people just talking, right? I just clipped a whole bunch of them because there's so many out there. And these are just regular old people commenting. Respectfully, you have zero idea how upset and angry Americans are with the stupid games that are being played in Congress. Americans think voting every 2 or 4 years is enough democracy. If you are angry with your government, get off your ass and protest, riot, do something, stop bitching. Anna says, I guess we should listen to all the sides of information, correct? If the Iraq war was wrong, how about the much bigger Iran war? If you're angry at the Iranians calling death to America, did you know that billions of other people from other countries hate America too? And you want to bomb all of them? So what, let me see, Quark says, so what was this actually about, right? The answer, the midterms, he's talking about the Iran war, right? Democrats want to repeat what they did last year, hurt the economy, destroy the airline industry, make Americans angry at the party in power, cancel flights, 6-hour security lines, travelers sleeping in airports. And then finally, sick of this BS says, now you can pay $350 to hear a washed up, angry, privileged white guy bitch about politics and tell you how to think and to feel because he lives in a gated neighborhood and hasn't paid a bill himself in 30 years. He's an expert now on how 90% of Americans should live. Dana Green says, wow, I have a new title, extremist. Yep, Tamber says, I'm white, old, and redneck extremist. Nito said Delta stated that reps and senators would not get special treatment to skip the long TSA lines. I love that. Yeah, Helen says horrible political news happening. Oh my goodness, and it's just getting worse. Just getting worse. Let's see here. Whale Guru was talking about nobody is telling you how effed the farmers are in America right now. Nobody is telling you how effed the farmers are. The agricultural secretary just confirmed it publicly. 1 in 4 American farmers has no fertilizer secured for spring planting. No fertilizer means no crops. No crops mean no food. 160,000 farms have closed since 2017. Less than half of all farmers will even turn a profit this year. They're not struggling, they're being wiped out. And the media is busy covering everything else. Yeah, Carrie Davis said, "Who knew fermenting and making sourdough bread made you a threat?"
Oh, right.
Clear threat. The housing market has a supply problem. Buyer demand just hit a record low. We are witnessing the slow freeze of the housing market. The U.S. housing market just flipped. There are now 630,000 more sellers than buyers, which is the largest gap on record. Are you paying attention to what's happening right now? Mortgage rates just hit a 6-month high, fourth straight week going up. The Fed cut rates 3 times and mortgages went up anyway. They told you rate cuts would make housing affordable again, yet rates went up. They told you inflation was cooling, yet rates went up. Every single institution that told you to wait, the Fed, the banks, the economists on TV, they all said the same thing: just wait. Relief is coming. You waited, and every week you waited, the same house got more expensive. In 2019, a $400,000 house cost you $1,900 a month. Today, that same house costs $2,800. Same walls, same roof, same neighborhood, $900 more for nothing. Except I would argue it's even more than that, because your insurance has gone up and your taxes have gone up too. An entire generation did everything right. We went to college, we got a job, we saved for a down payment, and the finish line moved every time you got close. Your parents bought a house on 1 salary, you can't buy one on 2, and nobody in charge thinks that's a problem worth solving, because the people making the rules already own a house.
Couple of them.
Yep. Nito says, the only fertilizer I use is compost I make with the help of my chickens. Now the problem, I've had a lot of conversations with my local politicians about this exact issue right here. The problem is, to feed the world, that barely works. That would take years to get to.
We don't have enough chickens.
Well, it's not just that. Maybe it would take, in order to shift from a glyphosate-based food system to a regenerative food system, would take years to develop. You're not turning that on tomorrow. Right? This is something that have to be built over a lot of time.
Yeah.
And they're just simply not going to feed the world.
And they're not working on that project right now.
Right. They're not feeding the world, and fertilizer is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. But now what are they going to do, Let's see here. This war will never change their ideology either, says Jamie. If you're waiting for the two-party system to save us from future economic collapse, I have some bad news for you. You guys see in that first graph, the red is the Republicans, the blue are the Democrats. The whole graph is our national debt. Right? So it's interesting to me. And, David, who I know is in the live here tonight, he always talks about just vote harder. Does it make sense to you, babe? That's your national debt. See that?
Yep. Skyrock.
Red is Republican, blue is Democrat. Right? Same bird, just a different wing. This plan has been a long time in the making. In 1970, we had 8 welfare programs. Today, we have 80 plus. In 1970, there was 1 million illegals in our country. Today, there's 18 million. In 1970, 88% of our population was white. Today, it's 56%. In 1970, we had $371 billion deficit. Now we have a $39 trillion deficit, right? This is the planned demolition of America, according to Benny Johnson. Americans are waking up at how insane food prices have gotten. He ordered 2 soups, 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, and 1 other sandwich of Panera Bread, and then stares at his bill for $71.
Oh, gee.
Yep, for soup and sandwiches. Panera Bread, by the way, is owned by a private equity firm, and anything that's owned by a private equity firm is owned by BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Just so you guys know, right? Let's see here.
Quit using them.
Oh,
Quit eating there.
Sorry, Jamie. I'll get that comment right back up there. I want to finish this last one I have on here, and then I'll get to comments. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warned us that the market is not listening. He called inflation the skunk at the party. It has been coming down, but it may have already leveled off around 3%, and that was before any new geopolitical shock entered the picture. So let me interpret what he was just saying right there. What he's saying is he felt like inflation was done going down, it had leveled off, and now we have the stuff going on with Iran, which everything is petroleum based. It's not just the cars, right? It's everything. There's petroleum in your, Fruit Loops. So everything has that. And now what he's saying is what he's predicting in his statement right here is we're going to begin to see inflation again. Aren't things already too expensive? Just like we talked about in housing.
It didn't go back down.
No, right.
We're inflating our inflation.
Right. Jamie says tons of problems here that should be fixed, not overseas, but never seems to happen. Yep, and never will. So a fertilizer company is great to start. There we go, right? I'll tell you what, this is actually a really smart thing. Someone who could get in the composting business and get a couple 100 tons of compost set around, people start getting hungry. You'd be a good gig. Tag, in the 47 years of garden, I have never bought fertilizer ever. I've always used natural. And again, that's great. And that works, but that doesn't work for feeding the world.
Well, and right, I was going to say
short term. It may be long term.
It feeds you, but it does not feed your neighbors.
That's right.
And if you have food and your neighbors do not, guess where your neighbors are coming?
Right. Yeah, David Strom says 2 political parties, 2 cheeks of the same ass. Hopefully the fraud task force will find a lot of the misspent tax dollars. I doubt it. I mean, you got to think about this. This is like asking the FBI to investigate itself. Squatchy says 2 chicken panini sandwiches and a water, $55, Long Beach Convention Center today. Ugh. Gratitude to Grace. What are up, my friends? That had a memorial today and spent the evening enjoying friends and family. I'm glad to be here now. We are glad to have you. Dana says, Pete, that's worse than highway robbery.
Yeah.
Don't worry. As you guys know, my stories will get progressively better as we go on tonight.
Wonderful.
Dr. Oz said it could, if we could get the average American. See, I love when government.
Dr. Oz?
That's Dr. Oz.
He has gotten old.
You know he serves on the Trump administration.
No.
Okay. Well, he has a plan to fix it. He has a plan.
Good.
You guys ready for the plan?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's his plan. If we could get the average American to start working a year earlier, right out of high school, and a year later not retire, it would generate $3 trillion to the U.S. economy. That would be more than enough to remove the debt. So his plan is, if we want to remove the debt,
we need to work more.
We just got to work more. You selfish people. You selfish people. Work 2 more years. That's all he's asking for. 2 more years of your life. You've already given them the 50 best years of your life serving the man. And the only thing they want you to do is just a couple more. What do you think?
The
you
crazy
in?
thing is most kids are working before they get out of high school. I mean, there's even a limit to when you are allowed to start working.
I know many kids around here are working at 14.
Yep.
many kids. Yep. Victory for parents for the Supreme Court. Here's actually some good news. I mean, really actually good news. Supreme Court strikes down indoctrination. Parents now have the right to opt out of LGBTQ and propaganda in schools. Now, this will take a while to get down to the schools, but in a landmark 6-3 ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with parents, allowing them to opt their children out of those programs.
Oh, good thing parents are starting to have a voice.
Yep. Did you guys see, and I only put the slide in there just because I find it super ironic at where we're at in the world today, but the First Lady Melania Trump just walked out with an American-built humanoid robot at the White House for a Fostering the Future AI education event. This robot walks right with her, right out of there. So it's kind of like, and I put it here in the slide deck on purpose because it's kind of ironic. They want the people to work longer, a little harder, but then we have the invent of AI, which is supposed to take jobs away from people. So
no, the job. I bet the robots are just there to monitor the folks to get them to work more.
They're going to be our managers.
They're going to be, yeah.
Okay. My family plan. This guy's to the Matrix Mysteries was talking about his health insurance. It says my family plan costs me $1,500 a month, and each of my 3 kids have a $6,000 deductible. And this means that he has to pay the first $30,000 out of pocket before insurance covers a single thing for them. On top of that, $18,000 a year just to keep the plan alive. Health insurance is a scam. So if you think about that, so he's paying $48,000 a year. $48,000 a year. Right? How many people do you suppose can absorb $48,000 for health insurance out of their yearly budget?
That's crazy.
Ouch, 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 ouch. Let's see here.
That's too much.
Mandy says, this is why I worked hard building our farm so we can help community grow their own food so they don't come take ours when things get rough.
Yes.
Guys, community's more important today than it's ever been.
Yep.
Helen says, I have a better idea. If the officials stop stealing and lining their pockets, that would save trillions. Would, but never going to happen. Let's see here. G-Dog says, I paid federal taxes when I was 14 years old. Yep, I know.
But
and
could you imagine if you started at 13?
if you just gave them one more year, G-Dog, 13.
Right. You could have helped them out.
That's right. You could be the savior.
Could have been.
Huh? President Trump reveals new label for American food products that are produced in the United States. To make it easier for the consumer to choose products raised by ranchers, they're going to put it's a product of the United States. So he announced the new food label list. It will say product of the United States, meaning it was raised in America, harvested in America, and processed in America. They'll know it was done by the greatest farmers and ranchers everywhere on the earth, Donald Trump. I like this. Another great thing that came this week is President Trump said we've ended the estate tax, or as they call it, the death tax, as you can now keep your family farms in the family. The farmers clap, right? These are all people clapping that love our children. If they didn't love their children, they wouldn't care about what I just said. And so this is also a wonderful thing, right? Because I don't know if you know this or not. If you have, and I'm going to try to remember the number. I haven't been in the business in a little while, but if you have an estate worth more than 5 million, and you guys think that's a big number, but look at house prices. I mean, an 80 acre piece, and just one 80 acre piece of property at an average price of $10,000, that's $800,000 by itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it doesn't take a lot to get there, but you would pay 42% in death tax. You know, in an estate that side, assuming that you didn't have a trust or, you know, some other thing, you know, put in there. Let's see here. Tambra says, if they want me to be okay with robots, they're going to have to look like Sam Elliott or George Strait and know how to build a fence.
Tamra.
I love that, Tamra. Love that. Jen says, how about stop wasting our time and money? Yep, I like that. Kip says, I'm retiring from the school bus this year, and it will cost me $500 a month for me to continue my health insurance, and that's with poverty level assistance discounting. Just absolutely crazy.
$500 a month.
Just crazy.
That's like car payment.
Yeah. Helen says, farmers are the backbone of America.
That's a huge car payment.
It is. Let's see. And some more good news. There was a bomb plot hits U.S. military base. A brother and sister were charged after a device was planted at MacDill Air Force Base, home of U.S. Central Command, as one suspect flees to China and the other is arrested. Mossad strikes America. And I don't know that Mossad, this is what this person says, but there's clearly something happened. Somebody struck America, and it ignites a Texas fires, dragging Washington into a wild war, a massive explosion at a Texas largest oil refinery, and a fire at a historic Georgia courthouse. Black smoke erupts near Newark Airport, and people are starting to connect the dots. A massive plume is rising fast near active EWR terminals. They're blaming it on a brush fire. That's that middle picture. We do brush fires all the time. That's not what a brush fire looks like.
We had a big brush fire at our airport, didn't we? Just this last week, because they were.
I didn't see it.
No, it was in the news. They were like, people around Topeka are complaining about the smoke in the air.
I was busy building you something.
Oh.
We're at war. U.S. energy target hit. Massive explosion erupts at one of America's largest refinery. The Valero refinery at Port Arthur, Texas, is also on fire. This was just today. A credible bomb threat was called in at the Chevron Phillips chemical plant off Highway 87 in Orange, Texas. Several other plants are evacuating as well. So that's 3 of them that are down there, which control a huge percentage of our energy in the form of fuel for our country. Let's see here. Tamber said, I worked at that refinery between high school and college. It used to be Gulf Oil. Interesting. Let's see here. The biggest lockdown since COVID is coming, and they're not going to warn you until it's too late. This is not about war. This is about what the war is doing to your life. Here's the domino chain nobody is talking about. Oil goes from 110 to 150 to 175 a barrel. Let's put this into perspective. $200 barrel oil means $12 a gallon fuel. Okay? Airlines start cutting flights. United just cut 5% this week. Their CEO is planning for $175 oil through the end of 2027. Trucking costs explode. Every product in every store gets more expensive. Gas goes from $5 to $6 to $7 a gallon. we all start driving less. Japan is rationing fuel right now. South Korea is rationing fuel right now. Bangladesh, Philippines, all rationing. Australia's government is telling people to avoid non-essential journeys. This is exactly what they said in COVID. Avoid non-essential travel, work from home, only go out for essential purposes. They call it a health measure in 2020. They will call it an energy measure in 2026. The result is the same. You do not leave your house without permission. In Thailand, fuel is being rationed. Australia is effed. Europe is already hit $11 a gallon. Meanwhile, in Florida, $3.90 a gallon. Americans simply are not feeling the real effects of this war. Most you get is a grumble about the price. Yes, because the truth is $3.90. We had that during the Biden administration, right? But we're very isolated. We're also the number one oil producer in the world, right? This is how supply chain is going to collapse. Australia is going through it right now. Truckers are stranded. Fuel stations are empty. No diesel anywhere. I've driven 500 kilometers, not a drop. Lines of trucks just waiting. No fuel equals no deliveries. No deliveries equal empty shelves. This doesn't just stay in Australia. And there's a lot going on, you guys, about Australia and the lines. Panic buying spreads across Asia, and now Thailand. Fuel stations are being overwhelmed as people rush to fill up. This isn't isolated anymore. We're now seeing supply pressure, public relations, rapid escalation across multiple countries. Once panic sets in, it will move fast. Australia is on the edge of it and probably got hit. First, theirs is up to $3.10 a liter, not a gallon.
A liter, yeah.
Right? A gallon. I mean, a liter, not a gallon. Diesel shortages are spreading. Rationing is being discussed, and people still don't realize what's coming. No diesel is no trucks, no food, no shelves. Farmers can't feed livestock. Transport costs are exploding. Supplies are already tightening. This isn't just a fuel problem. It's a system failure motion. Every product, every delivery, every supermarket aisle depends on diesel. And right now, that system is under pressure. Australia stops when the trucks stop. And you guys, I can tell just a little bit about this. Personally, I have some shipments coming from overseas that I ordered a month ago for one of my businesses. And I was informed today that my shipping price on those items have doubled. And guys, I'm talking about buying pallets of things right now.
Well, and you've already bought them, so how can the shipping cost double in transit?
Because I bought them, and they were working on completing my order, right? Which is assembly and some of the other things. I don't want to get in real bit detail on it, but anyway, we were notified today the shipping cost is likely to be doubled. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me and tell me what exactly that means. Let's see, everyone is talking about this energy lockdown, right? So let me do it. An energy lockdown is when fuel runs so short that governments stop asking you to save energy. They start forcing you. No driving, factories shut, electricity by a schedule, work from home, not because of a virus, but because of no fuel. It's already happening. Again, we talked, Philippines has declared a national emergency. Bangladesh has 3 weeks of fuel left. South Korea is telling citizens to take shorter showers and stop charging their phones at night.
Wow.
Yep, the IEA just called this the worst energy crisis in history, worse than 1973, worse than 1979 combined. Chile is erupting. Thousands are in the streets in Santiago protesting the rising fuel prices linked to the Middle East conflict. Police deploying water cannons. Crowds refusing to back down. This is a chain reaction. Panic and fear among citizens in the United States as they stockpile gasoline in anticipation of supply disruptions. One citizen reported that such a crisis has never occurred in the U.S. except during Trump's era, which is not true. But that's what they said. Criminals have started siphoning gas out of cars parked on streets. 164 gas stations across the state, and they're talking about a state in Australia, are completely out of fuel. It looks like Australia will be the first westernized country to descend fully into chaos due to the Middle East conflict, with fuel shortages, rationing, and the inevitable increased crime hitting the streets. And again, we were talking about we're insulated over here, right? Fetterman was said, I checked, and where the gas was a gallon 2 years ago in 24, it was around 360. It's now 365 a gallon. So for us here, at least in where I live, this is certainly true. It's high, but it's high as it was,
Yeah.
during the Biden administration. Let's see here. Again, energy lockdowns are coming, you guys. This is all over the web, right? The International Energy Agency just published a 10-point plan on how they're going to deal with the energy problems coming down. And here's what they think you can do. You can't drive on certain days alternating license plates. So what they're going to do is they're going to say that if your license plate ends on an even number, you get to drive on these days.
On
If it
the
ends
even
on an odd number,
days,
you get to drive on these.
because they're gonna have to make it very, very easy for people to remember.
Yes.
Otherwise, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I forgot I couldn't
Yes.
drive on even."
Yep, they're encouraging states to limits, and I'm sorry, they're encouraging the states to lower the speed limits everywhere. Car-free Sundays, so no car will be allowed on the road on Sundays. 40% of flights cut, work from home, not optional. They tell you how to cook in your own kitchen, and what they're meaning by this is they were talking about how they would outlaw any gas-fired stoves and only let you use electricity until the situation was resolved. Forced carpooling, government decides who gets to go in your car. So basically what they're saying is, hey, you're responsible, your car's responsible for these 3 houses, and force people into your car. Yeah, read that again. That'd be fun, right? If you remember during COVID, they said 2 weeks and it lasted 2 years. Now they're calling these temporary energy measures during the war last decades, but they are saying this would just be a few weeks
Temporary.
that flatten the curve. It'd be transitory, right? COVID took your right to gather. Energy lockdowns will take your right to move. The oil crisis is manufactured by a war that was a choice. The restrictions are the point. The war is the excuse. First, they told you where to stand. Now they're going to tell you where to drive. Next, they're going to tell you where to live. This opened the door that cannot be closed. Just in, Russians, Dmitriev warns this may be the most severe energy crisis in human history approaching. Wall Street Apes reported uncovering audio shows that Anthony Fauci was talking about having every major corporation require vaccinations and making it as hard as possible so they were forced to be vaccinated. He said, if you make it hard enough on people, they'll abandon their beliefs. And I didn't put this in over COVID. I put this in over the energy crisis, right? Let me read that last sentence again. These are the decision makers that says, if you make it hard enough on people, they will abandon their beliefs. X reported that the world is collapsing. South Korea president has asked its citizens to reduce shower time to save energy. In India, drivers are beating each other up in fuel stations for fuel. Several people have been seriously injured. Some have been arrested. In Australia, 500 gas stations have now run out of fuel. In the Philippines, the majority of people are walking to work to save fuel. A nationwide emergency has been declared. In Japan, emergency oil reserves have been released. Germany is about to run into a recession because of energy prices. Many countries have declared 4-day work weeks, like Sri Lanka. This is phase 1. Phase 2 will be worse. And I can verify, I've got a good friend who lives overseas in Asia, and they've moved schools down to 3 days a week. We reported that on our live last week, right? Let's see. I don't even know where I am. We'll just start right there. Skansdorf says, I drive from house to house for a living. Nito says, we are too close to California. Our gas has driven $1 in the last 10 days. Well, interesting thing about California, and I don't know if many of you guys even know this, California's especially vulnerable to this because of all of their restrictions that they put on fuel. They only allow particular blends of fuel. And so they don't really get much fuel out of the Texas plants. They get most of it through the Middle East and through the Straits of Hormuz, which is where all the problems are right now. So they are a little extra vulnerable. G-Dog says, I wonder why there are 0 experts doing a study on how much energy would be cheaper without AI, crypto, and data centers. Yeah, they never will, G-Dog, because they've even admitted the whole AI and data centers specifically push is a matter of national security. This is about fighting wars. This isn't about you and me having access to ChatGPT. This isn't about storing photos. This is about running the war machine.
Which makes more sense.
Yep. Terminator says, Tag, I have bicycles and feet. I walked to town before. It takes me 2 hours, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, and I think there's more to it than all of this too, Terminator. You know, we talk about build a life you don't barely got to walk away from. You know, I mean, it's very hard to say, hey, grow all, you know, meet all your own needs, grow all your own food, but you can certainly do a lot of it. I mean, if even, you know, just a couple tomato plants in a pot outside of an apartment is better than nothing, right? Even better, start building relationships with farmers, start building relationships with other people where you can go get around the system.
Volunteer your time.
Right. That's right. 100%. Nito says, plus California has shut down 2 refineries and a third in April will be shut down. Squatchy says, my dad paid $7.29 for diesel last week. Whew.
Per gallon.
Per gallon. Yeah, 50 degrees Celsius heat is coming, guys. Europe is in big trouble. Europe is going to be on their knees to Russia begging for energy shortly. And there's no supply of ACs, fans, or coolers because you remember all these heat waves that are coming through, right? If you can't get fuel, you're not running air conditioners, right? You're just not doing it. Imports are blocked. Carriers aren't accepting cargo. Only essentials are getting through. Demand will spike, but shelves will stay empty. And when the peak heat hits, people won't have access to cooling. This isn't a business problem. It's a survival problem.
Brutal summer.
Yep. And if you remember, compare this now to when the pokey pandemic came around in March in 2020. They said everything will be fine in 2 weeks. Trump recently said that the war in Iran would take 2 weeks. Supply chains would be shut down, right? Prices are skyrocketing, guys. I'm going to tell you, every financial expert I know is planning for increased inflation. 100% of them on both sides of the aisle, right? And if you remember, the pandemic lasted 2 years. As I can tell you, we're going to talk a lot about it as we continue through the night, but the stuff going on over in Iran is not a quick thing. They're not getting out of there. If they leave now, it makes Russia and China stronger.
You said you're going to, as you continue through the night.
Yeah,
you
well,
15 minutes.
In the next 15 minutes. Yeah, right.
As we continue through the night.
I'll get going.
I'm going to speak very much faster.
With no gas, should we get a horse and buggy like the Amish?
I don't know. Do you want to go anywhere?
Let me ask you something. How are you going to feed the horse?
Depends.
Right? How are you going to feed the horse? That'd be the question I would ask. Gratitude to Grace says our community had bike lanes put in the last few years. Might come in handy. Bike is a great idea. You know, I've told B for years I'd love to get a 48-volt electric golf cart because I could charge it off my solar system.
Yeah. And
B could bug around and use it, not use any fuel, but still be able to tend and carry a water jug to water plants, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Tamber said horses eat grass. Well, they eat grass if there's grass to eat. You know, for here, you're not going to feed them grass through the winter, right? What are you going to feed them? Let's see here. Man, California just went dark. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but there hundreds of thousands of homes in San Diego and Orange County were left without power this week, and they don't understand why. Breaking, Rep. Randy Fine warns that Chinese nationals were just caught planting explosives at an Air Force base. The next 72 hours, what to expect. Mr. Q says the transition is entering the visible phase. Over the next 72 hours, multiple changes may begin to surface across everyday systems. Not everywhere at once, but enough to be noticed. Short-term signal disruptions will increase. Mobile networks may become unstable. So you guys watch for this. Watch, does your phone work as well as it used to? You know, watch for these little clues, you know, like this. The banking system will show irregular behavior, delayed transactions. I mean, we're seeing reports all over of people not being able to take money out of banks, right? It just happened at BlackRock. A bunch of investors wanted a bunch of money, and BlackRock had to tell them no. Let's see here. G-Dog said, I haven't heard that Trump has told people of Iran to come out and take back their country. How long are they to be cooped up in their houses? Guys, it's going to take a long time. An absolute long time. There's no way this is handling quick. Let's see here. Today, Trump told his cabinet Australia was not great. I was a little surprised by Australia. Firstly, we were, this is very interesting right here. Firstly, we were not warned of the upcoming attacks on Iran, and we had no chance to prepare our nation for the fallout. So basically, countries are beginning to turn on Trump and America, and America is more isolated, you guys, today than ever. Just like in Australia. Australia says, hey, it's America's fault we don't have fuel because you didn't give us enough warning. We couldn't prepare. So it's Trump's fault. France says the Middle East war involving the U.S. and Israel is not theirs. Paris insists that only diplomacy is going to work. Many countries are concerned. Many people are complaining. Qatar withdraws from the war. Once said they were on our side. Now they're saying, and I quote, Iran has been here for 1,000 years. No one's going anywhere. Total destruction is not an option. We will live side by side with our neighbors and we'll find a way to coexist. Right? We're isolated. Economic strain of this war in Iran continues to deepen. Average gas prices again are poised to hit $4, gas $7. The Postal Service announced an 8% increase in prices, so tax stamps are going up. Right, gotta love that. This war won't be like Iraq, Afghanistan, or Libya. It'll be worse. You won't be able to ignore this. It's like going to be COVID in 2008 put together. Right. With the backing from Russia and China, Iran will emerge stronger. This is why America can't leave, because if America leaves now, Russia and China will sweep in behind it, right? And we may have a bigger problem on our hands. The Patriotic Blonde and a lot of other channels, Daily Iran News, is talking about how tomorrow, 30 minutes after the market closes, Trump will announce a ground invasion. I think it's almost inevitable because, again, they can't, from a national security
Why
perspective.
tomorrow?
They were just suggesting because everything happens right after the markets close on a Friday, right? The world economy will not survive another week of this. There is a lot of problems in a lot of places. Let's see here. Here's the verified full list. So now the countries that no longer want to be involved: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Italy, Spain, Japan, France, Canada, Australia, China, Germany, United Kingdom, South Korea, Netherlands, Poland, Norway, Greece, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Czech Republic, and Romania are all beginning to kind of turn and say, we don't want anything to do with this. Russia is helping Iran with intelligence to target Americans and to kill Americans. Russia is also supplying drones to Iran to help attack its neighbors. North Korea's Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un says that if Iran requests, we can supply them with missiles now. And Benjamin Netanyahu puts a cherry on top of the cake and says, and I quote, it is not the U.S.'s decision when this war ends. It's when the IDF says this war ends. What a great place to be, right? Let's see here. No, my phone is slower than before. Wasn't there record heat in Southwest? Maybe the grid is going down in peak hours. Maybe. Again, be watching for it, right? Yeah, phones aren't getting better, just more complicated and slower. It sucks. One update changed the look of my phone. I can't stop them. Let's see here. Pakistani oil tanker got blown up in the Straits, which was very interesting because Pakistan had been kind of backing Iran a little bit. We'll see how that changes. Iran's threatening to blow up the fiber optic internet cables that run on the bottom of the ocean. And I'm sure most of you know this, that 80% of the internet travels through these lines that run underneath the ocean. Could you imagine if we had all this fuel crisis and all of this stuff, and then you couldn't have the internet anymore? If you don't have the internet anymore, you can't even pay for it, right? ATMs won't work. You can't slide your card. You can't any of that, all by something so simple as blowing up a couple cables. Should this surprise anyone that no one wants the war by those involved in the Iraq war, where the soldiers took hits from Iran munitions and Israel? Iran can hit most of these countries. Yeah, it ain't pretty and it don't look good. Let me see. Trump just told the American people that Iran has... I am so confused by this. I'm going to try to blow through this fast because there's just a lot to it. So Trump says that Iran has been obliterated. I'm sure you guys have all read this. And it says he's ahead of schedule, right? They can't fly planes. They can't shoot missiles. And then all of a sudden they start shooting missiles. Trump says they want to negotiate. Iran says they don't want to negotiate. Trump says there's no leader left to talk to. Then a minute later, they're strange. And then a minute later, Iran is begging to make a deal. Well, if there's no leader left to talk to, who's begging to make the deal? It just makes no sense to me. During negotiations, Iran reportedly said, we have enough enriched uranium for 10 nuclear bombs. President Trump says, we don't need the Straits of Hormuz. If you don't know the Straits of Hormuz, why did you ask everybody for all of their help to come help in the Straits of Hormuz? I'm so confused. Iran rejected the ceasefire that they offered. Trump said he'd give them 10 days. They immediately rejected the ceasefire. Apparently, Iran says, you ain't that tough. And, we're in this. White House at 4 p.m. says that Iran regime was looking for an exit ramp. 5 p.m. Iranian parliament says that ain't true. right? So I don't know how at one time Trump can say Iran's begging and it won't be pretty, and 2 hours later, Iran says I'm not interested in negotiating with you. So apparently they ain't that scared. I don't know. I don't even know what's true. But in response, the United States Army's increased its max enlistment age from 34 to 42 and removes the waiver for convictions of marijuana possession. So are they going to draft? The only reason you would raise it from 34 to 42, right? Trump confirms that what I have been suggesting, that the request for help in the Straits of Hormuz was a test to NATO. So he was testing them. All right. Makes absolutely no sense. The head of the European Central Bank issued a brutal warning. And guys, Europe's going to get hit the absolute hardest. Financial markets do not understand what they're in for. Christine Lagarde, who again is the head of the central bank over there in Europe, says the damage from the Iran war has already done and it's going to last for years. She pointed out something most investors completely missed. Helium, critical for making advanced chips, flows through the Straits of Hormuz. Qatar's supply has gone dark, and chip makers only have a few months of inventory. Oil is spiking, inflation is coming, and the ECB may even have to hike rates. Markets are still in denial. I think she makes an absolute great point here, is that so many things run on petroleum, you're not going to be able to produce anything as long as it continues to go on.
People are oblivious where their stuff comes from. They don't know where their food comes from. They don't know where their other stuff comes from.
Jamie says it's all a lie. Everything's a lie. Never trust the government. Truth is the first casualty of war. Yep, I agree with both of those, and I can't promise any of it's true. But to make the problem worse, Russian oil producers are warning buyers about a possible force majeure on oil supplies at Baltic ports because of the new Ukraine drone strikes. Guys, I was working on this morning, and they were talking about 40% of Russia's oil capacity is about to come offline. Lots of stories about this. And then by the time I'm getting ready to go live, it starts breaking. Oh, they hit them again. And now half of Russia's oil exports have now gone up in flame. So you've shut down the Straits of Hormuz, which represents 20% of the oil flow to the world. And now 50% of Russia's offline, which is a whole nother chunk. So imagine 50, if this is true, and all this is true, and again, who knows, 50% of the world's oil supply was unavailable. How that would affect you, it will affect you in every single way. Kip Russell says, bottom line, you better be able to grow and raise your own food and then be ready to defend what you have. That is a great bottom line. I am going to, because it's 57, I'm going to put me and B back up here. And then I'm going to find... Man, I got so many more good slides on there.
You're going to have to save them. Although next week they'll be over.
Yeah,
they'll be late.
I won't. So I thought I would leave you guys tonight. I'll leave you with this quote because I think this is really important. I can't believe I'm quoting Putin, but I actually have to tell you I agree with him 100% when it comes to all of this. Putin drops a massive reality check on globalism. He warns that countries who surrender their sovereignty for a cheaper and calmer life have made a fatal mistake. Without sovereignty, it is impossible to protect one's fundamental interests. What do you think? And so my parting words to you guys tonight as we're at the 2-hour mark is that without sovereignty, it is impossible for you to protect your fundamental interests. Right? So we have to do for ourselves, we have to accept the hard road sometimes. It's much easier, you guys, to just go to the grocery store and buy a tomato. It is much easier to go to the grocery store and buy.
It is now. Right now it is.
Yeah, right. Right now it is. I mean, we can, go to Costco and buy their glue injected meat. It's much easier than raising it. It is much easier to do all of those things.
Crickets.
But as, Putin said, countries who have surrendered their sovereignty for a cheaper and calmer life have made a fatal mistake. Don't trade your sovereignty for a cheaper and calmer life. Don't make that fatal mistake. Reclaim your sovereignty, and you do that by taking responsibility and accountability for all of your own needs, or as many of them as you can get to. And what you can't get to, go yoke up.
Your own needs, your own actions, your own attitude, your own...
Yep. And when you can't meet it, go yoke up. B, what do you got to say? And then we'll get out of here.
I thought that was beautiful. I think I agree. And when you yoke up, like you say it's a lot easier to go and get that tomato from the grocery store. Yes, especially since when your option is to do it all yourself or to yoke up with, say, your neighbor, you and your neighbor aren't besties, and so it's a whole lot harder to do it that way. You but if your neighbor is willing to do it with you, you should do it.
And stay away from shovels.
You don't have to be best friends to do it. You don't have to be you just have to have that commonality that your goal is to provide food. That's
Have faith.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Yep. Have faith, yoke up, take accountability, and we're going to be just fine. We'll see you guys in a week.
Be out.
B is definitely out.